In every age and every land, there were women who refused to be silent, women who shaped the course of history. Don't forget to support by liking and subscribing. Now the real fun begins.
Cleopatra VII, the last pharaoh of ancient Egypt. She was more than a queen. She was a force that could sway empires. The golden sun rose over the Nile, casting shimmering reflections across the water. In the heart of Alexandria, Cleopatra VII prepared to ascend the throne, inheriting not just a kingdom, but the weight of centuries of Egyptian rule. Her reign began in a world where Rome's shadow loomed large, and every decision could tip the balance between survival and conquest. Cleopatra was not only famed for her beauty, but for her intellect. She spoke multiple languages, mastered diplomacy, and understood that in the game of power, charm was as potent as armies. Her strategy was to make Egypt indispensable to Rome, a move that would secure her nation's place in history. Her relationships with Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony were not mere romances, but calculated political alliances. Cleopatra saw in them the keys to Egypt's security and perhaps to her own survival. Together, they envisioned a Mediterranean world under their combined influence. But as Rome's politics turned, so did her fortunes. Antony's defeat at the Battle of Actium sealed their fate. Surrounded by Octavian's forces, Cleopatra chose to meet death on her own terms, embracing the bite of an asp, a final act of defiance against the empire that sought to control her. Queen Elizabeth I, leader of England's golden age. She turned a threatened kingdom into a world power. When Elizabeth ascended to the throne in 1558, England was a divided nation, threatened by powerful enemies abroad and religious conflict at home. She inherited a fragile crown in a world where kings ruled by force and women were rarely trusted with power. Elizabeth's decision to remain unmarried earned her the title the Virgin Queen, but it was a masterstroke of political independence. By avoiding marriage, she kept England free from foreign influence and maintained her authority as the sole ruler. In 1588, Spain sent a massive fleet to invade England. Against all odds, Elizabeth inspired her troops with a legendary speech at Tilbury, declaring she had the heart and stomach of a king. England's victory cemented her status as a powerful monarch. Elizabeth's reign ushered in a cultural and political renaissance. Shakespeare's plays filled the theaters, explorers like Sir Francis Drake circled the globe, and England's influence spread far beyond its shores. She died in 1603, leaving behind a transformed nation.
Joan of Arc, the saintly warrior of France. She was just a girl, but she carried the fate of France in her hands. Born in 1412 Domremy, a small village in France, Joan claims she heard voices from saints urging her to save her country from English domination. At just 17, she convinced the Dauphin Charles VII to let her lead his army. Clad in shining armor, Joan rode at the front of French troops during the Siege of Orleans in 1429. Her bravery inspired soldiers and terrified enemies. The French victory became a turning point in the 100 Years' War. Captured by the Burgundians, Joan was handed over to the English. She faced a biased trial, accused of heresy and witchcraft. Throughout, she maintained her faith, refusing to betray her visions. On May 30, 1431, Joan was burned at the stake in ruin. Witnesses said she met her fate with unwavering courage, her eyes fixed on the heavens. Centuries later, she was canonized as a saint.
Catherine the Great, Empress of Russia. She came to Russia as a foreigner, she ruled it as a legend. Born as Sophie of Anhalt-Zerbst in 1729, Catherine was brought to Russia to marry the future Emperor Peter III. Intelligent, ambitious, and politically astute, she quickly learned the language, culture, and power structures of her new home. Discontent with her husband's rule, Catherine orchestrated a coup in 1762 with the support of the army and nobility. Peter III was overthrown and Catherine crowned herself Empress of Russia. Her reign saw Russia expand its territory into Crimea, the Black Sea, and parts of Poland. She reformed the administration, modernized agriculture, and encouraged education and the arts, inviting European philosophers to her court. Catherine's death in 1796 marked the end of an era. She left behind a stronger, more modern Russia, and a legacy as one of the greatest female rulers in history.
Indira Gandhi, the Iron Lady of India. She led 1 billion voices with a single, unwavering will. Born in 1917 to Jawaharlal Nehru, first Prime Minister, India up amidst the freedom struggle against British rule. She inherited but a deep sense of duty to her nation. Indira became Prime Minister in 1966, facing challenges from poverty, regional conflicts, and global political pressures. Her decisive leadership in the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War earned her international recognition. Her declaration of the emergency in 1975, suspending civil liberties, remains one of the most debated actions in Indian political history. Yet she returned to power, showing her resilience in the face of political storms. In 1984, Indira was assassinated by her own bodyguards. Her death shocked the world, but her impact on India's politics and identity remains enduring.
Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady of Britain. She changed Britain and divided it. Born in 1925 to a grocer's family, Thatcher worked her way up through education and politics, becoming Britain's first female prime minister in 1979. Nicknamed the Iron Lady for her uncompromising style, Thatcher pushed for economic reforms, privatization, and a stronger defense policy, including during the Falklands War. Her policy sparked mass protests, especially among miners and unions. Yet she held firm, reshaping Britain's economy and political landscape. In 1990, facing political rebellion from within her own party, Thatcher resigned. Her legacy remains one of the most impactful and divisive in British history. Sultan, the powerful Valide Sultan of the Ottoman Empire, from a captive to the queen of an empire. Born around 1504 in what is now Ukraine, she was captured by Crimean Tatars and sold into the Ottoman palace. Known for her intelligence and charm, she caught the attention of Sultan Suleyman the Magnificent, becoming his legal wife, a rarity in Ottoman tradition. Harem's influence extended beyond the harem. She advised Suleyman on political matters, engaged in charitable works, and corresponded with foreign leaders, strengthening the empire's diplomatic reach. As the mother of the future Sultan Selim II, harem ensured her family's dominance in the succession struggle. Her rise marked the beginning of the Sultanate of Women, a period when women of the harem wielded significant political power. Harem died in 1558, leaving behind a legacy of political influence, architectural patronage, and a transformed role for women in the Ottoman Empire.
Eleanor Roosevelt, champion of modern diplomacy and human rights. She gave a voice to those the world tried to silence. Married to Franklin D. Roosevelt, Eleanor initially struggled with the ceremonial role of First Lady. But she soon redefined it, becoming an active political partner, traveling the country, and advocating for the poor and marginalized. After her husband's death, Eleanor played a key role in drafting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights as a delegate to the United Nations. She became a symbol of compassion and justice on the world stage. Eleanor Roosevelt's work laid the foundation for modern human rights advocacy. She died in 1962, remembered as the First Lady of the world.
Wu Zetian, the only female emperor of China. She broke the highest ceiling in the Middle Kingdom. Born in 624, Wu entered Emperor Taizong's court as a concubine. After his death, she rose to prominence under Emperor Gaozong, eventually becoming Empress. After Gaozong's death, Wu declared herself emperor, ruling directly, a first in Chinese history. She expanded the empire, reformed the bureaucracy, and promoted merit over aristocracy. Wu's reign was marked by both cultural prosperity and ruthless suppression of rivals. Critics accused her of manipulation and political purges, but she maintained a firm grip on power. Wu abdicated in 705, dying soon after. She left a controversial but undeniable legacy as a trailblazer for women in Chinese history. Rosa Parks, the quiet strength of civil rights. Sometimes, the strongest stand is taken by refusing to move. Born in 1913 Alabama, Rosa Parks grew up in the deeply segregated American South, where laws enforced racial separation in schools, transportation, and public life. On the 1st of December 1955, in Montgomery, Rosa refused to give up her seat to a white passenger. This quiet act of defiance led to her arrest and ignited the Montgomery bus boycott. For over a year, the African American community refused to use the buses, walking miles to work and school. The boycott, led by a young Martin Luther King Jr., became a landmark moment in the civil rights movement. Rosa Parks' quiet courage inspired generations to fight injustice through peaceful protest. She remained a symbol of dignity and determination until her death in 2005.